Nobody cares about wrestling cards anymore. The pandemic boom, long gone. Nobody wants cards of any kind. Is that really the case? Stick around and find out. What's up, wrestling fans, trading card collectors? Welcome to another episode of Wrestling with Cards. Today I wanted to have a chat about wrestling card investments. More specifically, looking back at some wrestling card investments that I spoke about on this channel a long time ago. The video was about 5 ways that you can invest in wrestling cards. Feel free to go check out that video in the archives of this channel if you so choose. And just like on the intro of that video, I'll say it on the intro of this video, I'm not a financial advisor. Purely entertainment, I just like to talk about this stuff. But what I wanted to do is go over those 5 talking points about the investments in wrestling cards and find out, are those actually still relevant? Have my opinions changed, or are they the same? And stick around to the end of the video, where the final talking point of this video is going to hit home for, I think, anybody in any collecting walk of life. So let's go back 2 years and see if my investing tips are awesome or do they suck. First way you can invest in wrestling cards, autographs. I still think this is a pretty solid option. But that being said, if we were looking at autographs as investments, we need to dig a little bit deeper now. I don't think we can any longer say, oh, it's signed, it's authenticated, it's graded, it's a good investment. And I had mentioned in that video that pretty much any autograph was valuable. And I do still stand by that, especially on the lower end to mid talent autographs if you're just looking to flip, trade, upgrade that PC. I get a lot of autographs in bulk lots and collections that I buy out for the eBay store. And no matter who's on the card, no matter what type of autograph or set it is, at a minimum, those cards sell for $5 all day long. People in wrestling cards and wrestling in general, we love autographs. On the flip side of that, no pun intended, on the higher end spectrum of wrestling autographs and superstars, the market and kind of prediction that you can do with these a little bit tougher. And I really think it has to do with the price point. If you find a rare, scarce autograph that isn't out there, or something that's key and iconic, you know, you could be looking at $500 or something. And that's not a lot of money to some people, but for some people that just collect lower end stuff, they're not gonna even wanna sniff that. So then your buyer pool is much smaller as you go up in price. And I think that's also been affected by the incoming of a lot of new collectors as well as new products and kind of the things they like that mesh the two. People now see Prism Golds, Black One of Ones, Kabooms, Galactics, PMGs. Those are kind of the top tier cards that people are going after now, especially the newer collectors. And then what that does is that means those autographs are then kind of pushed to the side, taking a back seat to some of this newer, limited, scarce stuff. And speaking of that, I also think that it's mindful when you are investing in legends. I had mentioned it in the 5 ways to invest video, but my opinions on this have changed just a little bit. I do think certain cards of certain talents signed is still a great investment. But you really have to keep in mind supply and demand. We're seeing more and more cards, whether it's Prism sticker autographs, whether it's Wrestling All-Stars, and everything in between. We're seeing more and more of these cards coming to market that are signed from these superstars and these legends. Hogan, Flair, Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin. This caliber of talent is signing anything and everything now for Panini or at these private signings or conventions. There's a bunch of this stuff out there. And then on the flip side of that, you have to look at the demand for these. As I've stated, people are really leaning into the modern product, the rare, scarce, shiny stuff. So if we're looking at these autographed legends cards purely from an investment standpoint, we have to ask, if there's a lot of them coming out, what's going to be the demand years from now, especially when they sign anything and everything. And then we need to also look at the rare autographs from some lesser known talents or legends. Say there's a girl or a guy out there that maybe didn't sign that much during their career. Or you could say that person didn't sign that much, or maybe a medium amount, but they're no longer with us, so they're not signing anymore, obviously. And let's hypothetically say that the total pop of all of that person's autographs put together is 5. And I'm sure you could find 5 people out there that would want said card. But just because there's only 5 available doesn't necessarily mean that it's super valuable and that there's a ton of demand for it. Just because there's only 5 of them doesn't necessarily mean, well, I guess you could price things at whatever you want, but it doesn't mean you can price this card of some jobber from the 80s that hardly ever signed above a Hulk Hogan, a Steve Austin, a Rock. So overall, autographs, still a good play. But if you're purely looking at this from investment and not just a flip standpoint, you might want to really think through some of these things that I brought up today before you start throwing down hundreds or thousands of dollars on the superstar's autograph that you think will be good. Number 2 way you can invest in wrestling cards is buying complete sets. there is value to be had in complete sets. However, not as much as before. I say there's value because there are still a ton of complete sets out there that you can go out and buy that are cheaper than to just buy the key card in the set by itself, or maybe for just a few bucks more. That being said, as far as complete sets go, I don't see there being a lot of value just looking at it from an investment standpoint going forward. I mean, compare it to a lot of the complete sets of like baseball that we saw come out during the junk wax era. People still want some of that stuff, but you can go out and buy some complete sets for like $5-10. So from that perspective, maybe not a good investment outside of stuff like maybe 82, 83 All-Stars, the first Topps release or an OPC release, the WCW NWO Topps autograph set, and there's probably some other short printed subsets of stuff out there I'm not thinking of. So maybe subsets or insert sets might have a little bit more value from a complete set standpoint than just complete base set runs. Third way you can invest in wrestling cards, sealed product. Sealed product's still a great investment in my opinion. However, you better be prepared to hold on for the long haul. And if you like to rip, that's going to be hard to do because you're going to get itchy to open that box that's sitting in your closet for very long at all. But gone are the days where you could just walk in to your LCS or Target or Walmart. Well, I say gone, I guess it could happen potentially, but it's likely not going to happen that you're going to go be able to buy that blaster, that hobby box, put it up on eBay, and triple your money within a few hours. But specifically with wrestling, look at the prices of sealed wax from, say, 5 years ago and further back, especially the stuff from the 80s and 90s. The people that bought those boxes and held on to them probably feeling pretty good about their investments at this point. And while I do still like to buy sealed product from time to time, I am personally not seeing myself doing it as much anymore. And that's just a personal thing. I found out that the buying and holding for years, specifically as a investment and not something that I actually want a piece of my collection, that doesn't really go with what I like to do anymore. From a business perspective, I just like to get a bunch of bulk stuff in, buy collections, get those going, flip them as quick as possible. And then of course funnel that money into some of the PC stuff I do want. But again, that's just me. I think overall, long term, if you have the patience, sealed wax, still a great investment. The fourth way that you can invest in wrestling cards is graded rookies and graded legends. During the hobby boom a few years back, you could pretty much put any wrestling star, specifically legend or rookie card, into a slab of any grading company and would have like 5x the money overnight, no matter if it was a PSA 1, PSA 10, no matter if it was Ric Flair, Stone Cold Steve Austin. It doesn't matter. You could have just made money printing, getting these things graded. But times have changed. And there's pros and cons to that. Some pros being that the cards that people really wanted and at that time are, oh, I used to have that when I was a kid. Oh, that's my favorite wrestler. I've got to have that card. A lot of those cards in specific grades that people wanted them at in the higher grades now are very affordable. Or if you want them in the lower grade, they're super affordable. There are a ton of deals to be had. In fact, a lot of these cards that we saw during the boom that people were wanting, like, oh, I've got to add that to my collection. That's a good investment. A lot of those cards now can be found in lower grades or mid grades for lower than what would actually cost you to grade the card to begin with. So you're telling me I could get a SGC 5 for less than what I could buy that card raw? Like, sign me up. And while some of these cards I'm specifically talking about, maybe it's a bunch of junk Impel stuff that got graded and isn't worth as much now. Maybe there's a Flying Brian Pillman graded, we'll say PSA 7 Impel card out there for $10 shipped. While that maybe isn't a good investment for the future, it does allow somebody to either get into wrestling cards or a Flying Brian fan that is able to now get this graded card for, you know, just a little bit more than what it would cost to get it raw. On the flip side, the cons of this is the glut of supply that has come out when anybody and everybody, again, was grading everything, and PSA got shut down. All the grading companies were grasping at straws to get employees and get these cards out, blah, blah, blah. But with that much supply, the demand has also waned, therefore prices waned as well. Maybe for years, a card was a pop 3. The next thing we know, after anybody and everybody's grading everything they have, the pop turns into 17. Combine that with, as I said earlier, the new wrestling products coming out, the new collectors coming into the space and collecting the way that they want to collect, and you can see why the market on some of this stuff is down. So then you may be saying, well, rookie cards are always going to be valuable. Legends and high-end cards of those are always going to be valuable. And while that is true, again, it just the change in dynamic of market pricing and the way people collect, I think may kind of make that stuff a little fuzzy when it comes to an investment standpoint. Now, of course, there are key iconic cards, whether they're rookie cards or not, that are going to be important and valuable within wrestling card hobby for years to come. So maybe graded rookie cards and graded legends cards, maybe they're not as valuable as they once were during that boom, but out of that, there are definitely cards that are going to rise to the top, cream rising to the top, so to speak. And then for the other stuff that, there's just tons of, like the Impel or Classic, like all that stuff that just everybody was grading it, those are now going to find themselves into the hands of collectors who then will maybe learn about grading or learn about different sets because they're able to get these things for cheaper than they were during that boom. So, will rookie cards and legends in graded form be great investment going forward? For some, definitely. Others, maybe not what we thought. The fifth and final way you can invest in wrestling cards is outside investments. Outside investments. This one is as relevant as ever and is never going to go away, honestly. When there's something out there you want, say it's a card, say it's a set, say it's a new creative project you want to start. No matter what it is, it's probably going to cost money and time to get it going. So you could complain about it because you can't afford it, because you can't find it, because you don't have the time to start it, or you could do something about it. Instead of wasting time watching Netflix, scrolling around on social media on your phone, playing video games, start a side hustle. Sell some stuff out of your PC or stuff randomly you have laying around the house that you don't want or use anymore. Take that money and then invest it in those big boy cards that you never thought you'd be able to obtain. And lastly, I had talked about in that video investing in yourself, which kind of has to do with the outside investment perspective. But take a look at those video clips from that 5 ways to invest video that I've showed you here today. They suck. The video quality is garbage. The sound totally sucks. My camera presence is terrible. I edited that dumb video on some worthless free app that I was able to find in the Play Store. But that crappy video somehow now has over 3,000 views, which isn't a lot for a lot of people, but again, for a crappy video I made like 3 years ago in this form, and I knew it sucked, but I just kept going. I spent money to get better lighting, better mics, better software, better equipment. And the more I made videos, the more I made podcasts, the better I got at it. Or at least I'd like to think that I've gotten a little bit better of it. Leave me a comment. Do you think these videos are better than that one from 3 years ago? Let me know. You could also view this from the eBay standpoint. When I first started selling low end, there was a lot of learning involved, and I could have quit, the first time I got a negative feedback or the first time a card got damaged and I had to give a refund. But no, I refused to quit. Kept going, pedal to the metal. And while I'm still doing all of this one-man DIY punk rock style, I've just kept going and going when others may have quit or never got started doing anything in the first place. And my advice to you on the outside investments, and this is kind of tying all this together, and it really affects anybody, if there's something you want out there, go for it. Maybe your goal is to collect a certain set, be a super collector of a specific talent. Go after that grail card that you've always wanted. Start a podcast, start a YouTube channel about whatever it is you want to talk about. Maybe it's to start a business. Maybe it's to find a better job or make a career out of something. The time is now to just start doing those things. Just go for it. Are you going to hit some roadblocks along the way? Of course. But enjoy the journey and eventually your hard work will pay off. What did you think about today's video of looking back at these investments that I kind of made a prediction about 3 years ago? Let me know what you think. Leave a comment below on anything that I've spoke about today. I'd love to get your feedback. And when you're done leaving a comment below, make sure to check out all the links in the show notes below for all the ways you can help show your support for my content. Links to my podcast, links to my social platforms, links to eBay, Patreon, and much more. If this video brought you some value today, please subscribe, hit that like button, and tell the world. Tell a friend, tell a local collector about this channel, about wrestling cards, get more people collecting. And until next time, click the videos on the screen for more great wrestling card content in the archives of this channel, including the original 5 ways to invest in wrestling cards. If you want to go back and watch that video, a little bit hard to get through, but have fun. See ya. Have a good day.